Okay, welcome to the first summer assignment, 7.1, adding and subtracting rational numbers. We have, I don't know, how many questions do we have? We have 18 questions here. So let's talk about this first one. Important thing is we need to understand what absolute value is. Absolute value really wants to know distance. So every number, you take a number, every number has a distance and a direction. So a number like 8 has a distance of 8 and a direction to the right. A number like -10 has a distance of 10 and a direction of left. And 0 has no distance and no direction. Does not exist. So positive numbers have directions of right, negative numbers have direction left, and then the distance. So when we find the absolute value, it just wants to know the distance of the number. So this is -4.5, or -4.5, -4/5. So it doesn't care about the direction, which is left 4/5. So the absolute value is going to be 4/5. Good. Absolute value, this is right 6.43. So it doesn't care about the direction. It just wants to know the distance of 6.43. -22 would be 22. Complete the statement using greater than or less than or equal to. So 4 is what to this? Well, we have to simplify before we evaluate this statement. So what is the distance of -8 is 8. So we're going to use a less than sign. This is less than. This is greater than. And less than, it looks like an L, doesn't it? So the one that looks like the letter L reminds me that it's less than, and we read it left to right. So this number is less than this number. 4 is less than 8. So we would use the less than sign. The absolute value of -7 is 7. And then this doesn't have an absolute value. So this is just -12. So here we're going to use the greater than sign because 7 is greater than -12. If we saw it on a number line, you'd have -12, you'd have 0, you'd have 7. So 7 is going to be greater than. This is greater in that direction. This is smaller or lesser. Smaller numbers travel that way. -7, absolute value of 3 is 3. So we will use the less than because -7 is less than 3. So we're going to now simplify. Mr. Mac does not care for double signs. We do not like double signs. They are very inefficient. So a negative and a positive, a positive times a negative is a negative. And I like looking at numbers in this manner. The two numbers we have are -6 and -11. -6 and -11 makes -17. Very important. So when we have a positive and negative, that equals a negative. When you have a negative and a positive, that equals a negative. When you have a positive and a positive, that equals a positive. When you have a negative and a negative, that equals a positive. So when we have these double signs, we're going to simplify those double signs to these. So I'm always going to rewrite it. It makes more sense to me. So we have double signs here. A negative and a negative makes a positive. So 2 + 9, which makes 11. We've got double signs. So we're going to rewrite it. and that gives us negative 4/9 minus 23/18. Now, important, we can't add these because they have different denominators, so we're going to take this negative 4/9 and we're going to create an equivalent fraction. So we want it 18ths. So we ask ourselves, 9 times what is 18? 2 times 2. So we're going to multiply it by 2. This value has to be a value of 1. That's why it's equivalent. And that gives us negative 8/18 minus 23/18. Negative 8 and negative 23 makes negative 31/18. We're going to make sure that we simplify, make sure it's reduced in simplified lowest terms, and that is its lowest terms. Again, we're going to combine those double signs first. 17/12 plus 1/8. Now, we want to, I'm not going to do 94, or excuse me, 94, 94, which would be 8 times 12. That's a common multiple, but it's not my LCM. To find my LCM, we do the prime factorization of 12, which is 2 times 2 times 3, and prime factorization of 8, which, well, is not 8, which is 2 times 2 times 2. So LCM, the C tells me to circle the common. So what do they have in common? So they have a 2 in common. They have a second 2 in common. And then the L tells me to circle the leftovers. And what do they have left over? They have a 3 and a 2. So my LCM is going to be what they have in common, a 2 and a 2. And then what they have left over, which is a 2 and a 3. So that gives me 24. My LCM is 24, and that's going to be my common denominator. So 24 would be the least common multiple of 12 and 8. So 17/12 equals how many 24ths? We're going to multiply that by 2. So we multiply 17 by 2, which is 34. Bye, Eve! 34, and then 1/8 equals how many 24ths? And that's going to be times 3, and 3, 34 makes 37/24. That is that combined, 37/24. Good. Decimals so much easier than fractions. Saying goodbye to my daughter. Get rid of those double signs first. Very important. Double signs. 9.2 minus 2.8. Whenever we subtract, we align their decimal places. I got to borrow. That gives me 4. Bring down my decimal point, 6. I have more positives than negatives, so my answer is going to be positive 6.4. 2.86, 12.1. Okay, so 2.86 and 12. A lot of people would do this and then subtract. That would be wrong. You never take a bigger number from a smaller number. This is wrong. Wrong. A lot of students will do this. No, we have to take the bigger number, 12.1, and we're going to take 2.86. And I know, Mr. Mack, you're putting a negative on this. It's not negative. Nope, I have a positive number and a negative number. But I'm going to subtract both of them. I got to borrow. That gives me 4. I got to borrow. That gives me 2. Bring down the decimal. I got to borrow. And that gives me 9. 9.24. 9.24. But it's going to be negative because I have more negatives than positives. Okay? These signs are different, so we take the difference between the two numbers, the smaller from the larger, and then we keep the sign of the larger. So negative 9.24. Bet you a lot of people get that one wrong. Write an addition expression and write a subtraction expression represented by the number line, then evaluate the expressions. Okay, well, we start at 0, and we go to 3, and then we subtract 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 minus 4. So 3 minus 4 equals expression, so we don't write an equation, an addition expression. Oh, that would not be an addition expression. An addition expression would be 3 plus negative 4. The value of the addition expression is negative 1. Hello, we end up there. And a subtraction expression would be 3 minus 4, and the value of that is also negative 1. So, two different ways. You have 3 plus a negative 4, or you have 3 minus 4. Both get you to negative 1. The table shows your scores relative to par. Those are golf terms. For 9 holes, this would be a bogey. Oh, this would be an eagle. That would be a birdie. That would be a par. That would be a birdie. That would be a triple bogey. That would be a birdie. That would be what we call an albatross, 3 under. And then this would be a bogey, 1 over. So the table that shows your scores relative to par for 9 holes. What is your total score from the 9 holes? This is a crazy golfer because you had an albatross, you had an eagle, you had 3 birdies, and then you had a triple bogey and 2 other bogeys and 1 par. So this is a pretty sporadic. But if we had to total it up, +1 minus 2 minus 1 plus 0 minus 1 plus 3 minus 1 minus 3 plus 1. This gives us negative 1. This gives us negative 2. That still keeps us at negative 2. That takes us to negative 3. This gives us to 0. That's negative 1. That's negative 4. And plus 1 gives me negative 3. So my total for the day is 3 under, or minus 3, which is totally crazy. That is a crazy golfer. The elevation of a fish, the elevation of a fish is negative 27 feet. Got it? The fish descends 32 feet and then rises 14 feet. What is the new elevation? So if this is 0, this is the water surface, and the fish is negative 27 feet. That's negative 27. There's my fishy. And then it descends 32 more feet. That's minus 32 more. Let's put, we're going to minus 32 more. And that distance would be negative 59 feet is where the fish is. And then it rises 14. Then it's going to go up 14 from negative 59. And that gives us negative 45. Negative 45. So what is the new elevation? New elevation is negative 45 feet. They typically, when you're talking about water and elevation, you just have above sea level or below sea level, but it's going to be negative 45. So if you wanted to do it mathematically, negative 27, then minus 32, then plus 14. And again, we get to see that negative 59 plus 14 gives us negative 45. The table shows the rainfall in inches for 3 months compared to the yearly average. The table shows rainfall for 3 months compared to the yearly average. Okay, so this is less the yearly average. This is more than the yearly average. This is less the yearly. Is the total rainfall for the 3 month period greater than or less than the yearly average? Well, we would combine those all. 0.86 plus 2.56 minus 1.24. So 2.56 minus 0.86 gives us 0. We got to borrow 7, 1. So that gives us 1.7 minus 1.24. So minus 1.24. We got to borrow. That's 6. That's 4. So that's going to give us positive 0.46. It is greater than the yearly average. Explain, because this is my explanation, but my explanation would be it rained over the average more than it did under the average. That would be my explanation. Bank account A has $750.92. Bank account B has $675.44. Account A changes by negative $216.38. Account B changes by negative $168.49. Which account has the greater balance? So he has 750. That's a horrible 9. Let's rewrite that. 92. This is A. Has 750.92, and we're going to subtract 216.38. 9 becomes 8. Borrow 4. 3 from 8 is 5. Got to borrow 4, 3, 5. So account A has $534.54. Account B starts with 675.44, and we're going to subtract 168.49. Got to borrow, gives us 5. Got to borrow, gives us 9. Got to borrow, gives us 6. 0, 5. B has 506. So which account has a greater balance? It has $534.54. Explain? Well, this is my explanation. 18. On January 1st, you record the lowest temperature as 23 degrees Fahrenheit and the highest temperature as 6 degrees Celsius. A formula for converting from degrees Fahrenheit to degrees Celsius is a very famous, and actually that's not it. Typically we convert from Celsius to Fahrenheit, but this is the one. What is the temperature range in degrees Celsius for January 1st? So we need to convert this Fahrenheit to Celsius because it wants to know in Celsius. So we have our highest temperature, and now we have to calculate our lowest, which is in Fahrenheit. So we're going to plug that in. C equals 5/9 times 23 minus 160 over 9. So we got 5 times 23. 15, 115, 9ths minus 160, 9ths. So we got 160 minus 115, which gives us 5, 4, 45, negative 45, because you have more negative 9ths than positive 9ths. So this gives us negative 5. So the temperature is negative 5 degrees Celsius. What is the temperature range? Sorry, no, that is not the answer. That is my low. This is my low temperature. Degrees Celsius equals my low, and my high is 23. So that's going to be 28 degrees range. My range is going to go from 28 degrees. That's from my lowest to my highest, has a range of 28 degrees. Yep, I like that. That makes sense. Good. That's it. Okay, so absolute values, and we can just go over these real quick. Yep, we got positive 4, 5. Good. Oh, sorry, we have to scroll. 6.43. Good. 22. Yes. We said less than. Less than. Correct answer is less than. Good. Correct answer is greater than. Yep. 7 is greater than negative 12. That was, yes. And then less than, because 3 is, or negative 7 is less than 3. Negative 17, yup. 11, yup. I did not change it to a mixed number. It says write your answer as a fraction in simplest form. You can give it as a mixed number. This is a mixed number or improper fraction, which is what I'm always going to give it to you. Same thing goes for this. 6.4. Yep, negative 9.24. Oh, did they give us answers? Oh, there you go. 3 plus negative 4, negative 1, 3 minus 4. Yep, remember that one. Negative 3, yep, 3 under. Negative 45 feet. Yep, that was good. And here is, you don't see the answer here. That's interesting. You don't see the answer here either. Oh well, we know that we got them right. Okay, good luck. Work on those things that you didn't get correct, and do extra practice problems. This is a good review.